Okay.
Carol, let me just also, we're eating supper. That's why my camera's off, but
Okay. We're being recorded. Do you want me to
that's
stop
fine.
it? Okay.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
We just got a text that Naima landed safely in New York.
Thank
So-
God.
And I know she
Good.
had a wonderful trip. We'll look forward to hearing more about it when
Yes,
she gets back.
that is great news. Great news. Okay, so today is Thursday, December 14th, day 8 or night 8 of Hanukkah and Hanukkah around the world. Last night, as you all know, we were in person for our party with Coda. We've been to Munich and Costa Rica and Colombia. We did El Adat one night. We went to Morocco. I'm trying to think where else we went. We've been to so many places. If it comes to me, I'll summarize them.
India.
India. We've been to India. I have my list. So again, Germany, North Africa, Colombia, Costa Rica, Morocco, India, and tonight we're finishing up with Maui in Hawaii. And even though we've done Hawaii before, I thought that because we lent some support financially to the temple in Maui after the fires, it would kind of be a respectful thing to do. And I'm going to take you to see some before and after and tell you how Maui functions, being Jewish. Rabbi, you and I had this discussion, so bear with me, if you will. So here we go. Okay, so Hanukkah around the world, night 8, Maui. There's a bit of a connection to Rodeph Sholom. I spoke to and have been communicating with Kalo Yuko, who's their community manager. I think that's like an executive director. She spoke to me with aloha, very important, and she ends her emails mahalo. The impact of the fires on their temple was not what it was throughout the island. The synagogue itself sustained no damage. It served as a shelter, and they were accepting monetary contributions for relief funds and then distributing. They were 20 miles from the fires that were up the coastal road. Now, the history of the Jews in Maui in particular, in Hawaii, was kind of interesting. In 1971, the congregation of Sof Mariv was a conservative synagogue. In 1975, the Aloha Jewish Chapel was built at Pearl Harbor. In 1990, the formation of Chabad in Hawaii. 1990s, the synagogues were formed on Maui, Kauai, and Hawaii. In 2004, the Hillel Center was open at the University of Hawaii at Manoa in Honolulu. And in 2022, the population of Jews in Hawaii was 7,100, 0.5% of the total population. Now, the Aloha Jewish Chapel, just so you're aware, that was built at Pearl Harbor, was really used for the military primarily, and then it spread from there. Specifically, there were no specific Jewish neighborhoods. Jews assimilated with the other residents in a very multiracial and multicultural society. So this is the island of Maui. You'll see where this big fat white arrow is about where the temple that I'm talking about is located. Not a lot of roads on Maui, but this big orange arrow is Lahaina, the town. And that's where the damage was really awful. So just so you have an idea, out here, Hana, the road to Hana would take you out to a volcano. And it is a long, narrow, bumpy road. I've been there, so I can attest to that. Not a road that you want to take if you easily get dizzy. So the Jewish congregation of Maui, Beit Shalom, the population there in Maui was approximately 2,000 to 3,000, with changes based on the fires. The Jewish congregation of Maui is egalitarian, pluralistic, non-affiliated, open to all, regardless of affiliation or observation. The first location for this synagogue was on the beach. In 1991, it was incorporated with nonprofit status. In 1998, they acquired a building, and the first rabbi was transformed from a whale researcher to becoming a rabbi, serving the community until 2019, and that was Rabbi David Glickman. This is the synagogue. They have a kosher kitchen. It's a Shomer Shabbat facility. They have Shabbat services, education classes, a community seder, high holiday services, and a Hanukah party. All of that in what appears to be a house. Life cycle events on Maui. You can see that the whole ocean is theirs. This is a bat mitzvah and a wedding. Quite a place to have these life cycle events. In 2022, they celebrated Hanukkah in person. You can imagine why they weren't in person before, for the same reason that we weren't in person, that 5-letter word called COVID. Now, this is Lahaina before the fires. This is the downtown, cute little town, the harbor. You can see it's beautiful. And this is a pretty much bird's eye view. This is the main highway, Hanukah Highway. You see where my arrow is going? And out to Kanapali. So I just want you to have a sense as to what this looked like before the dreadful fires. And here we go. This was post-fire. This is the people trying to get away from the fires. And this big red blob is what the fires took over. So it took over a lot of the island. And yet, up here and on the other side of the island, they had no damage whatsoever, which is really hard to believe that they had nothing. Lahaina, after the fires, people lost everything. Some only had cell phones, no wallets, no home, no clothes. Some people are just walking around aimlessly, not knowing, like, what do I do? They have nowhere to go. There's no business. There's no house. There's no clothing. There's no pictures. There's nothing. This was a quote from somebody talking about the fires. And you can see the cars, the devastation. So the synagogue had some issues. One was finding a rabbi. And the issue there was the synagogue was so diverse that the rabbi would have to be open to such diversity. There was a housing crisis. Where were they going to put the rabbi? Their dues structure, which is something we always talk about, they determined that anyone who makes a contribution is a member. And their mission was to hold the space for all things Jewish. Now, because I signed up for their emails just before we started at 7 o'clock, I got an email on like their constant contact that says, we are delighted to have Rabbi Ken Aronowitz from Oahu, who will be bringing his musical talent and making his debut on the Bima at the Jewish Congregation of Maui this Friday, December 15th. He served as guest high holiday cantor for over 20 years at conservative and reform congregations. He worked alongside a distinguished group of rabbis, including Ed Feinstein, Daniel Gordis, and Mark Gelman. Rabbi Ken, as they call him, made his way to Hawaii, first to Honolulu, where he met the Jewish community of Oahu. For over 20 years, he became a fixture at Temple Emmanuel as cantorial soloist, educator, spiritual leader, and rabbi until leaving the congregation in September of 2021. He currently serves as chaplain at Momi Medical Center. He and his wife, Hinda Diamond, have 2 children. They will be coming now to this synagogue. So I just got that. No time to put that up. So I want you to see that in a sense, they're not a whole lot different, or they're similar to us. This is one of their graphics for Hanukah. And it said, attention, important election nominee ballot information. Due to tech issues with the election ballot site, the ballot with the nominees will be available hopefully on Sunday, December 9th. We can't apologize for any inconvenience. So we have technical issues here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They have technical issues in Maui, in Hawaii. Now, there's a Chabad that's a very interesting Chabad. It was located in the evacuation zone. Rabbi Mendel and Rebbetzin Chani Zurkind are the ones who are the leaders. They grew up in Israel, in Southern California, and they loved farming. And I quote, there is something really special about keeping the Torah so close to the land and learning the lessons of farming and keeping them. The Torah comes to life in a farm setting. They're very connected to God and nature, and you're going to see that in a minute. This is the farm, Chabad Kosher Farm. And you see, feeding the goats. Here's your welcome sign. They literally live on a farm. And when people had no place to go, they were able to get to Chabad. Even though they're in the evacuation zone, somehow or other, they were spared. So I wanted you to see what it looks like and how they live and what they do in Hawaii, because it's different and the same. I mean, we aren't in a farm or on a farm, but we have the same technical problems. And while they are open to everybody, Reform, conservative, Orthodox, nobody is closed out from that temple. It's finding the right leader. I believe we have the right leader for Rodeph Sholom, who helps us be open and welcoming to anybody who wants to come through our doors. That takes you full circle from Hawaii back to 2385 Park Avenue in Bridgeport, with a sincere thanks to Rabbi Eisenberg for his leadership. So if you have any questions, I'm not sure I can answer them, but I'd be happy to try. Or if you have any comments you'd like to make.
Carol, that was an awesome presentation. Really marvelous. And I thank you. And I also thank you for doing Hanukkah around the world. What's Debbie holding?
She's got a surprise.
Oh.
You know, you never know with her.
Okay. I just had to say one thing real quick. Thank you for doing all the programs. It was just marvelous.
Thank you.
And I do want to mention that even though only 0.5% of hang on a second, only 0.5% of Hawaii is Jewish, according to your demographics. Hawaii, like every other state in the union, only has 2 senators. One of them is Jewish. I'm sure many of you know that. And his name is Brian Schatz. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right. We need to give the screen to our illustrious president. Look out.
Lanny's not here tonight, and I knew that everyone would be disappointed if there wasn't a song. So.
President. You're muted, Rabbi.
What did you say, Rabbi? You were muted.
I can only imagine what you were saying.
We were yelling, "Bring back Lanny! Bring back Lanny!" Judy and I were both yelling it from the kitchen.
No.
He's not home. He's not home tonight.
We prefer Lanny. Sorry.
No, be
Adorable.
grateful. She made so much effort. She was so creative, and it's very entertaining.
Yes.
And then justifies the means, by the way.
It says 8 magical nights, and actually this is how my granddaughter Emma learned this song, and she knows it by heart because of this animal that so when she came here the other night to light the candles, and she's got a mother who's not Jewish and a father who's Jewish, and my son's daughter, and she knows this song by heart. She sings it in the middle of the year because of this stuffed animal.
Carol, I said end justifies the means.
Very cute.
Adorable.
Is that a goat?
I think it's supposed to be like a
unicorn.
I think it's a unicorn. I think it's
a
unicorn.
And it says on it, it's embroidered, it says 8 magical nights.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I think a unicorn. I don't really know what it is. Because it's got 2 horns, actually. So I don't really know. Or is that part of it? I don't know.
This is how you keep the kids Jewish, right?
Right.
We try.
Anything
Carol, I have a short question. I don't, they probably don't keep those stats, but they know, you said they're welcoming anybody, which is actually very inclusion. All right. It's very nice. And probably is the best in environment and situation. But do they know how many, I mean, they probably know intermarriages and the just in general stats, so it's not available. They don't really keep track.
I didn't know. And so I will tell you that Alaska is not Hawaii by any stretch of the imagination. But when Mike and I were in Alaska, actually, whenever we went any place, we had to find a synagogue. And we were in Anchorage, and the synagogue was on Northern Lights Boulevard. How appropriate. And the night, well, so let me say, this synagogue houses Orthodox, Conservative, Reform, and Reconstruction. They all get along. They all have services. And the Friday night we were there, now go figure, we're from Connecticut. The Philadelphia Boys Choir were the guests, and they were singing. I mean, you couldn't ask for more ecumenical, multicultural differences, diversity. So I'm thinking that this temple in Maui probably does the same kind of thing.
Do you
Because,
think,
yeah,
do you think that military would be still going there, or they would rely on their own chaplain now because they have?
well, they won't be going to Maui because it's a different island. The Aloha Chapel would be in Honolulu. And so, you know, they'd have to fly to get to Maui. And that's not so far-fetched, because when we were on Maui and we wanted to go to Pearl Harbor, we took a plane for the day, you know, a half-hour flight. But think about it. Are you going to take a plane for a half hour to go to services? Probably not, when you've got a military chapel at your fingertips. So, any other
Carol,
comments?
I just realized I never told David and Howard what the thing that played music was a stuffed animal thing that I just pressed a button, and I guess it's a unicorn, and it dances around so that it was falling off the table. So just to give them
Is it the same one you used to bring to the chapel?
it is. It
Then
is.
I know him.
You do. That's right.
I am not surprised. Good memory, David.
He is a unicorn emeritus.
Yeah.
That's right.
So this brings Hanukah 2023 to a close. And I've already gotten a suggestion from somebody for next year. So
God, really.
think about it, ladies and gentlemen. And if there's something you'd be interested in researching, I'm always open to help.
Thank you, Carol. This is
Okay.
probably the only time I'll get to Hawaii, so it was
Never say
wonderful.
never. How do you know?
No,
It's a
Not on
long
the bucket
flight.
list. Yeah,
Very long.
it's a
Long.
is there once. I didn't realize how long a flight it was. It's a long way to go for a beach. I mean, I was at Pearl Harbor. I did see everything, but I said to Lanny, I am not ever flying again there. It is
It's
a
long.
long way to go for a beach.
Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to.
Thank you,
stop.
Carol. Thank you so much.
Marvelous,
Thank you,
Carol.
everybody
Carol.
else,
Carol.
Pleasure.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
all
Thank
our
Good job.
you.
researchers. So